Hi, I am Pastor Rich Warnecke from Christ Lutheran Church in Pewaukee, Wisconsin, and welcome to our Friday devotion. Have you ever heard of the phrase, the grace of giving? Grace is God's undeserved love, and the proof of God's undeserved love is that He sent His Son into this world to live for us, to live a perfect life in our place for us, because He demands perfection. And Jesus never failed God one time in 33 years. And Jesus took our sin upon Himself. He was pierced, He was crushed. He died for us so that our debt would be paid. The wages of sin is death. This is how Jesus served us in undeserved love. And now, led by that love, we also give. We use our time, our talents, and treasures to the glory of God, in service to God and in service to other people. This is what the Apostle Paul is talking about in his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 8. We're going to consider verses 1 through 5. In this section, the Apostle Paul pleaded with the Christian church in Corinth to remember the brothers and sisters in faith that they had in the church in Jerusalem. And he uses as an example the churches in Macedonia, especially the church in Philippi, as an example of how brothers and sisters in faith, even though they were being persecuted, even though they didn't have much money, and they literally had lost so much because of their faith, they pleaded with Paul for the opportunity to serve. And the Apostle Paul says they gave first themselves to the Lord, and then they followed His will. And isn't that exactly what we do? The Apostle Paul also writes in Romans chapter 12, verse 1, in view of God's mercy, I offer my body as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is my spiritual act of worship. Everything we do in response to God's love for us. And what an opportunity with our time, our talents, and our treasures to help our brothers and sisters in faith who are struggling, to support them, to make sure we're there for them, and to in some way make sure the gospel is being shared so that all can hear the good news of Christ, and to support our brothers and sisters as they struggle to grow and to go with that same word. Lord, use us to your glory to help our brothers and sisters in faith through our time, our talents, and our offerings, to share your undeserved love with all, because your love moves us to do just that, in service to you and in service to our brothers and sisters in faith. Listen to what the Apostle Paul says. Again, 2 Corinthians 8, verses 1 through 5. And now, brothers and sisters, we want you to know about the grace that God has given the Macedonian churches. In the midst of a very severe trial, their overflowing joy and their extreme poverty welled up in rich generosity. For I testify that they gave as much as they were able, and even beyond their ability. Entirely on their own, they urgently pleaded with us for the privilege of sharing in this service to the Lord's people, and they exceeded our expectations. They gave themselves first of all to the Lord, and then by the will of God also to us. Hey, God's blessings as we continue to respond to God's grace with our giving, time, talents, and treasures, to our brothers and sisters in faith and to the glory of God. Until next time.